Welcome to our channel, Magic with the Minions. I'm Bethany. I'm the wife and the leader of the minions here. Tonight I'm going to be opening up Ahoy Mateys, the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. And as I'm opening them up, I will be having Brian sleeve them here. So I'll pass these Ultra Pro pirate sleeves over to him to do that. And here I've got the Ahoy Mateys. Put pirates in the graveyard, bring them back bigger. There's the box there for you. Well, I guess I should probably keep it on frame so you can actually see.
You can actually see the box.
You actually see the box. It says here, it's okay to go a little overboard. Battle your friends with powerful creatures and spectacular spells in Magic's most popular multiplayer format. Set sail with the unsinkable Admiral Brass and leave no pirate behind. When crewmates meet their watery end, Brass can bring them back bigger, stronger, and even more ready to sink your foes. In the wake of the Phyrexian invasion, famed pirate Beckett Brass returns to the sea, following rumors of treasure beneath Ixalan. So we will open this up here. Give me a moment while I break into the treasure box here. Treasure chest.
X marks the spot.
Don't want to rip anything, trying to get it out. There we go.
That's being stubborn.
Oh, it was the security one that was giving me a grief. Pass this over here. So, first up, I will look into this fancy little black fancy envelope here. Make sure nothing else remains. And of course, we've got the box. Pull this out. Doesn't want to cooperate. Card deck box here. I'll pass this over to you. And our life counter. And then we have the sample booster pack here. And inside we will find Sovereign Okenek. I can't see it because the head covers it. Oh, but I can see it down here. Ward 2, so his mana cost is 2 colorless, 1 green, 1 white. He's a legendary creature, Cat Noble. He's a ward of 2. Whenever Sovereign Okenek Ahoy attacks, for each creature you control with power greater than that creature's base power, put a number of 1/1/1/1 counters on that creature equal to the difference. And it's a 3/4. Pass that over here. Ooh, nice foil, shiny, and it's got a dinosaur on it. Belligerent Yearling. It's a dinosaur creature with trample. And whenever another dinosaur enters the battlefield, under your control, you may have Belligerent Yearling's base power become equal to that creature's power until end of turn. It's a 3/2. It's fancy looking. There you go. Next up from the box, we have some, well, they look like poison counters or something on there. Let's see if I can get these out of here. There we go. That would be everything. And before I get into the deck here, we will just take a quick peek at the poster. Arrgh! Looks like Grandma got dressed up as a pirate. Love my grandma, but I don't think I'd want to come across her as a pirate. Pretty cool there. Okay, well, let's get down to business. If I know how to get into this.
There we go.
Okay. First out would be our Admiral Brass. Unsinkable. She is worth 2 colorless, 1 blue, 1 black, 1 red. Legendary creature, human pirate. When Admiral Brass Unsinkable enters the battlefield, mill 4 cards. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may return target pirate creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. It has base power and toughness 4/4. It gains haste until end of turn. If a creature with a finality counter on it would die, exile it instead. And she's a 3/3. Kind of like her card. Next up, we have... Ooh. They're going to try and run away on me here. We have Don Andres, the Renegade. He is worth 1 colorless, 1 blue, 1 black, 1 red. He's a legendary creature, vampire pirate. Ooh. Each creature you control but don't own gets +2/+2, has menace and death touch, and is a pirate in addition to its other types. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell you don't own, create 2 tapped treasure tokens. And he's a 4/3. And he's also foil. Pretty cool. Here we have Azure Fleet Admiral. It is worth 3 colorless and 1 blue. It's a creature human pirate. When Azure Fleet Admiral enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. Azure Fleet Admiral can't be blocked by creatures the monarch controls. And he's a 3/3. Careful, don't fall. Enterprising Scallywag. It's 1 colorless and 1 red. It's a creature goblin pirate. At the beginning of your end step, if you descended this turn, create a treasure token. You descended if a permanent card was put into your graveyard from anywhere. 2/2. Well, geez, you have your commander on the field. You're milling cards. Well, never mind. Yeah. Daring Saboteur. It's 1 colorless and 1 blue. Creature human pirate. If you pay 2 colorless and 1 blue, Daring Saboteur can't be blocked this turn. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. He's a 2/1. Then we have Departed Deckhand. 1 colorless, 1 blue. It's a spirit pirate. When Departed Deckhand becomes the target of a spell, sacrifice it. Departed Deckhand can't be blocked except by spirits. And by paying 3 colorless and 1 blue, another target creature you control can't be blocked this turn except by spirits. It's a 2/2. And here we have Distant Melody with 3 colorless and 1 blue. It's a sorcery spell. Choose a creature type. Draw a card for each permanent you control of that type. Then we have Ghost of Ramirez de Pietro. It's a 2 colorless and 1 blue. It's a legendary creature spirit pirate. Ghost of Ramirez can't be blocked by creatures with toughness 3 or greater. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, choose up to 1 target card in a graveyard that was discarded or put there from a library this turn. Put that card into its owner's hand. And partner. You can have 2 commanders if both have partner. 2/3. Then we have Malcolm Keen-Eyed Navigator for 2 colorless and 1 blue. Legendary creature, Siren Pirate. It has flying. Whenever 1 or more pirates you control deal damage to your opponents, you create a treasure token for each opponent dealt damage. It's an artifact with tap. Sacrifice this artifact. Add 1 mana of any color. And this one also has partner for 2/2. We have Merchant Raiders for 3 colorless and 1 blue. It's a creature human pirate. Whenever Merchant Raiders or another pirate enters the battlefield under your control, tap up to 1 target creature. That creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step for as long as you control Merchant Raiders. Nice. 2/4. We have Siren Storm Tamer for 1 blue. It's a Siren Pirate Wizard with flying, and with 1 blue you can sacrifice Siren Storm Tamer, counter target spell or ability that targets you or a creature you control, and it's a 1/1. Here I have Spectral Sailor for 1 blue. It's a spirit pirate with flash, flying, and when you pay 3 colorless and 1 blue, you get to draw a card for 1/1. Here we have a sorcery, Windfall, for 2 colorless and 1 blue. Each player discards their hand, then draws cards equal to the greatest number of cards a player discarded this way. That'd be nice if you have a crummy hand.
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting into some black cards here. So this sorcery card is called Feed the Swarm. It's a 1 colorless and 1 black. Destroy target creature or enchantment an opponent controls. You lose life equal to that permanent's mana value. Ooh.
Typical black.
Then we have a human pirate creature, Pitiless Plunderer, for 3 colorless and 1 black. Whenever another creature you control dies, create a treasure token. It's a 1/4. We're getting into some red here. We have Breaches Brazen Plunderer for 3 colorless and 1 red. It's a Goblin Pirate legendary creature with Menace. And whenever 1 or more pirates you control deal damage to your opponents, exile the top card of each of those opponents' libraries. You may play those cards this turn, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells. And this one also has partner, 3/3. Here we've got a red sorcery spell, Faithless Looting. Draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. And it also has flashback for a cost of 2 colorless and 1 red. I love those flashback ones. Yeah. Here we have Rakdos Charm for 1 black, 1 red. It's an instant where you get to choose 1. Either exile target player's graveyard, destroy target artifact, or each creature deals 1 damage to its controller.
Each creature. So that means everyone on the field. All creatures on the battlefield.
Yep. Okay, here we have Ramirez de Pietro Pillager. And it's a 2 colorless, 1 blue, 1 black legendary creature, human pirate. When he enters the battlefield, you lose 2 life and create 2 treasure tokens. Whenever 1 or more pirates you control deal combat damage to a player, exile the top card of that player's library. You may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled, and it's 4/3.
So you have his living version.
And his spirit?
And then you have his ghost version.
I thought I recognized the name.
How do you have him alive and dead in the same deck?
Maybe he has a twin with the same name. I thought I recognized the name there. I was wondering if I was just losing it. Okay, well, you know what? We have an Arcane Signet for 2. It's an artifact. It's one of your common ones here. Tap it, add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. And we also have here, Commander Sphere for 3 colorless. It's an artifact. Tap, add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity, sacrifice it, and you can draw a card. And here we have a Dimir Signet for 2 colorless. It's an artifact. Pay 1 colorless mana, tap it, and add both blue and black. Here we have Herald's Horn for 3 colorless. It's an artifact. As Herald's Horn enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creature spells you cast of the chosen type cost 1 less to cast. And at the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. If it's a creature card of that chosen type, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. And we got another here at Is It Signet for 2 colorless. It's an artifact where you pay 1 colorless, tap it, and you get to add in a blue and a red. And we got another signet here. It's a Rakdos Signet for 2 colorless. And again, you pay 1 colorless, tap it, and then you get to add a black and a red. And we have the Soul Ring for 1 colorless. Tap it and you get to add 2. And here we have Wayfarer's Bauble here. It's 1 colorless. It's an artifact. Pay 2 colorless and tap it, and then you can sacrifice Wayfarer's Bauble. Search your library for a basic land card, put that card onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. And we have the infamous Command Tower. It's a land. Tap it, add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. And we have here, this land is Crumbling Necropolis. It is enters the battlefield tapped, but by tapping it, you get to add in a blue, a black, or a red. Evolving Wilds is a land. You tap it, you can sacrifice it, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Here we have the Indomitable. It is 2 colorless and 2 blue. It's a legendary artifact vehicle. It has trample, and it has whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Crew for 3. You may cast the Indomitable from your graveyard as long as you control 3 or more tapped pirates and or vehicles. It's a 6/6. Here we have Stormfleet Negotiator for 2 colorless and 1 blue. It's a Siren Pirate with flying and parley. Whenever Stormfleet Negotiator attacks, each player reveals the top card of their library. For each non-land card revealed this way, you create a map token. Then each player draws a card. It's a 2/2. Francisco Foul Marauder for 1 colorless and 1 black. It's a legendary creature bird pirate. It has flying, it can't block, and whenever 1 or more pirates you control deal damage to a player, Francisco explores, and it has partner for 0/1. Kind of looks like Polly wants a cracker. The Grim Captain's Locker for 3 colorless and 1 black. It's a legendary artifact. You tap it for Surveil 1. You can tap it until end of turn. Each creature card in your graveyard gains Escape. So 3 colorless, 1 black. Exile 4 other cards from your graveyard. Then we have Skeleton Crew for 3 colorless and 1 black. It's a skeleton pirate. Each other creature you control that's a skeleton or pirate gets 1/1. Whenever 1 or more creature cards leave your graveyard, create a 2/2 black skeleton pirate creature token. This ability triggers only from the battlefield. And if you tap 5 and 1 black, return Skeleton Crew from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. It's a 3/3. That looks cool. Broadside Bombardiers. 2 colorless, 1 red. It's a goblin pirate. It has menace and haste. Oof. It has boast. Sacrifice another creature or artifact. Broadside Bombardiers deals damage equal to 2 plus the sacrifice permanent's mana value to any target. 2/2. We have Gem Cutter Buccaneer. It's a 3 colorless and 1 red. It's an orc pirate artificer. Whenever Gem Cutter Buccaneer or another pirate enters the battlefield under your control, create a tapped treasure token. Treasures you control are equipment in addition to their other types and have equipped creature gets +2/+0, equip pirate 1 and equip 3. 1/3. Here we have an arm-mounted anchor for 3 colorless. It's an artifact equipment. Equipped creatures get +2/+2 and has menace. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, draw 2 cards. Then discard 2 cards unless you discard a pirate card. Equip for 2. This ability costs 2 less to activate if you have 1 or fewer cards in hand. Here we have Amphin Mutineer for 3 colorless and 1 blue. It's a salamander pirate. When Amphin enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target non-salamander creature. That creature's controller creates a 4/3 blue salamander warrior creature token. And it has Encore for 4 colorless, 2 blue. Exile this card from your graveyard. For each opponent, create a token copy that attacks that opponent this turn if able. They gain haste. Sacrifice them at the beginning of the next end step. Activate only as a sorcery. And it's a 3/3. Here we have Bident of Thassa, 2 colorless and 2 blue. It's a legendary enchantment artifact. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. For 1 colorless, 1 blue and tapping, creatures your opponents control attack this turn if able. Then we have Corsair Captain for 2 colorless and 1 blue. It's a human pirate. And when Corsair Captain enters the battlefield, create a treasure token. Other pirates you control get +1/+1, and it's 2/2. Here we have Evacuation for 3 colorless and 2 blue. It's an instant. Return all creatures to their owner's hands. We have Time Stream Navigator for 1 colorless and 1 blue. It's a human pirate wizard with Ascend. If you control 10 or more permanents, you get the city's blessings for the rest of the game. And for 2 colorless and 2 blue and tapping it, you put Time Stream Navigator on the bottom of its owner's library. Take an extra turn after this one. Activate only if you have the city's blessing. 1/1. Here we have War Kite Marauder for 1 colorless, 1 blue. It's a human pirate with flying. And whenever he attacks, target creature defending player controls loses all abilities and has base power and toughness 0/1 until end of turn. It's a 2/1.
Yikes.
Here we have Black Market Connections for 2 colorless, 1 black. It's an enchantment. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, choose 1 or more. Create a treasure token, you lose 1 life. Draw a card, you lose 2 life. Or create a 3/2 colorless shapeshifter creature token with changeling. You lose 3 life. It has every creature type. I don't like the ones that make you lose life. Here we have Blood Money. It's 5 colorless and 2 black. That's a sorcery card. Destroy all creatures. For each non-token creature destroyed this way, you create a tapped treasure token. Dire Fleet Ravager for 3 colorless and 2 black. It's an orc pirate wizard with menace and death touch. When Dire Fleet Ravager enters the battlefield, each player loses 1/3 of their life, rounded up. Wow. It's a 4/4. With Fathom Fleet Captain, 1 colorless, 1 black, human pirate. It has menace, and when he attacks, if you control another non-token pirate, you may pay 2. If you do, create a 2/2 black pirate creature token with menace, and he has 2/1. Here we have Lethal Scheme for 2 colorless and 2 black. It's an instant with Convoke. And destroy target creature or planeswalker. Each creature that convoked Lethal Scheme connives. So draw a card, then discard a card. If you discarded a non-land card, put a 1/1 counter on that creature. Here we have Angrath's Marauders for 5 colorless and 2 black. It's a human pirate. If a source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage to that permanent or player instead, and it's a 4/4.
Oh, double damage? Yikes.
Here we have a Blasphemous Act for 8 colorless and 1 red. It's a sorcery. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature on the battlefield. Blasphemous Act deals 13 damage to each creature. Captain Lanary Storm for 2 colorless and 1 red. Legendary creature human pirate with haste. When he attacks, create a treasure token. And whenever you sacrifice a treasure, Captain Lanary Storm gets +1/+0 until end of turn. He's a 2/2. For Captivating Crew, 3 colorless and 1 red. It's a human pirate. 3 colorless and 1 red. Gain control of target creature and opponent controls until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery for 4/3. Here we have an instant Chaos Warp for 2 colorless and 1 red. The owner of target permanent shuffles it into their library, then reveals the top card of their library. If it's a permanent card, they put it onto the battlefield.
I think stealing other people's cards is salty.
Coercive Recruiter for 4 colorless and 1 red for a creature orc pirate. Whenever Coercive Recruiter or another pirate enters a battlefield under your control, gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature. Until end of turn, it gains haste and becomes a pirate in addition to its other types. It's a 4/3. Dire Fleet Daredevil. I've seen this one before. Creature, human pirate, first strike. When Dire Fleet Daredevil enters the battlefield, exile target instant or sorcery card from an opponent's graveyard. You may cast it this turn, and mana of any type can be spent to cast that spell. If that spell would be put into a graveyard this turn, exile it instead. It's a 2/1. I had that in one of my other decks.
Yeah, I think so, actually.
Kari Zev, Skyship Raider, 1 colorless and 1 red, legendary creature human pirate with first strike and menace. Whenever Kari attacks, create Ragavan, a legendary 2/1 red monkey creature token. Ragavan enters the battlefield tapped and attacking. Exile that token at end of combat. It's a 1/3. Port Razor, 3 colorless and 2 red. It's an orc pirate. Whenever Port Razor deals... I almost said pork. Port Razor deals combat damage to a player. Untap each creature you control. After this combat phase, there's an additional combat phase. Port Razor can't attack a player it has already attacked this turn, and it's a 4/4. Must be thinking of all those pig tokens that you had with the last one there. Shared Animosity. For 2 colorless and 1 red, it's an enchantment. Whenever a creature you control attacks, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each other attacking creature that shares a creature type with it. Here we have Admiral Beckett Brass. Isn't that my commander?
Yeah, but this is Admiral Brass Unsinkable.
Oh, okay, yeah. So for 1 colorless, 1 blue, 1 black, 1 red, it's a human pirate. Other pirates you control get +1/+1. At the beginning of your end step, gain control of target non-land permanent controlled by a player who was dealt combat damage by 3 or more pirates this turn. It's a 3/3. You know, I'm kind of glad that Faye decided to go with the other one because there's a lot going on with this one that as a new player is going to keep me busy during the game, I think. Hostage Taker, 2 colorless, 1 blue, 1 black. Creature human pirate. When Hostage Taker enters the battlefield, exile another target creature or artifact until Hostage Taker leaves the battlefield. You may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled, and mana of any type can be spent to cast that spell. It's a 2/3. Here we have a Saga. Saga. That's what I was thinking. King Narfi's Betrayal for 1 colorless, 1 blue, 1 red, black. Each player mills 4 cards. Then you may exile a creature or planeswalker card from each graveyard. And then the second and third phase are the same. Until end of turn, you may cast spells from among cards exiled with King Narfi's Betrayal, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells. Here we have a instant, Prismari Command. Oh, that would look really cool in a foil, I bet. Yeah. 1 colorless, 1 blue, 1 red. You get to choose 2. Either it deals 2 damage to any target. Target player draws 2 cards, then discards 2 cards. Target player creates a treasure token or destroy target artifact. Here we have Zara, Renegade Recruiter. It's 3 colorless, 1 blue, 1 red. It has flying. Whenever Zara Renegade Recruiter attacks, look at defending player's hand. You may put a creature card from it onto the battlefield under your control tapped and attacking that player or planeswalker they control. Return that creature to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step for 4/3. Here we have Icon of Ancestry for 3 colorless. It's an artifact. As Icon of Ancestry enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. By paying 3 colorless and tapping, look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card of the chosen type from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Here we have Vanquisher's Banner for 5 colorless. It's an artifact. As Vanquisher's Banner enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. Whenever you cast a creature spell of the chosen type, draw a card. And I think we're getting into some lands here.
Ooh.
Choked Estuary, which is a land. As it enters the battlefield, you may reveal an island or swamp card from your hand. If you don't, it enters the battlefield tapped. And by tapping it, you get a blue or a black. Not right away. Desolate lighthouse. Because of course, if you're going to be on the boat in the water, you need to have a lighthouse nearby. Here, if you tap it, you get to add a mana. If you pay 1 colorless, 1 blue, 1 red, and tap it, draw a card, then discard a card. Exotic Orchard. It's a land. Tap it, add 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. I wonder if there's apples in that orchard.
Be nice if there was.
Foreboding Ruins. It's a land. As it enters the battlefield, you may reveal a swamp or mountain card from your hand. If you don't, Foreboding Ruin enters the battlefield tapped. Tap it for a black or a red. And here we have Frostboil Snarl. And again, it unless you reveal an island or a mountain, it enters... Sorry, I should probably read first rather than summarizing beforehand. As Frostboil Snarl enters the battlefield, you may reveal an island or mountain card from your hand. If you don't, it enters tapped. Tap it for blue or red. Oh, Gear Reach Sanitarium. It's a legendary land. Tap it for 1 mana, or pay 2 colorless, tap it, and each player draws a card, then discards a card. All are welcome. Nephalia Drown Yard. It's a land. Tap it for 1 mana, or if you pay 1 colorless, 1 blue, 1 black, and tap it, target player mills 3 cards.
Ooh.
Smoldering Marsh. It's a swamp mountain land. Tap it to add a black or a red, and it enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. Sulphur Falls. It enters tapped unless you control an island or a mountain. Tap it for a blue or a red. Sunken Hollow. Island Swamp. Tap it for a blue or a black. It enters tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. Path of Ancestry. Path of Ancestry enters the battlefield tapped. Tap it, add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. When that mana is spent to cast a creature spell that shares a creature type with your commander, scry 1. I always forget to do that part. Port of Carfel. It enters tapped. Tap it for a blue, or pay 3 colorless, 1 blue, 2 black. Tap it, sacrifice Port of Carfel. Mill 4 cards, then return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Rogue's Passage. Tap it for 1 mana, or pay 4 colorless, tap it, and target creature can't be blocked this turn. Secluded Courtyard. Ooh. As Secluded Courtyard enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Tap it for 1 mana, or tap it, add 1 mana of any color, spend this mana only to cast a creature spell of the chosen type or activate an ability of a creature source of the chosen type. Here we have Terramorphic Expanse. Sacrifice it and search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Thriving Bluff. It enters tapped. As Thriving Bluff enters the battlefield, choose a color other than red. Tap it, add red or 1 mana of chosen color. Here we have Thriving Isle. It enters tapped. As Thriving Isle enters the battlefield, choose a color other than blue. Tap it to add blue or that chosen color. Here we have Thriving Moor. It enters tapped.
Thriving Isle, Thriving Moor, Thriving Bluff.
And this one is basically the same concept of those ones too. You pick a color and then add black and 1 color of chosen color. 1 mana of chosen color, sorry.
I'm surprised they didn't, if you got all 3 of them, they didn't add like a
thing.
buff or something.
Unclaimed Territory. As Unclaimed Territory enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Tap it for mana, or tap it, add 1 mana of any color, spend this mana only to cast a creature spell of the chosen type. Here we're getting into our lands. So here, sorry, our islands. There's the islands here. Pass those on as I go through and look for the rest of the blue ones because they are the same. And then I'm going to show you here the swamps. I like the purple one. Ooh. We'll do this. And then I'm going to show you the mountains. Pretty cool there. And then we have the thicker cardboard foil of the commander here. And then we're going to get into our tokens. So here we have Ragavan. That's the monkey. Token legendary creature monkey for a 2/1. On the back side, we have a treasure. Token artifact treasure. Sacrifice this artifact. Add 1 mana of any color. Here we have a salamander warrior. It's a 4/3. He's pretty cool looking. On the back, we have another treasure. Another salamander warrior. Another treasure. Another salamander warrior with, oh, look it, shapeshifter. It's a changeling. This token is every creature type for a 3/2. Another salamander warrior with a shapeshifter. Here we have a map. For 1 colorless, tap it, sacrifice this artifact, target creature you control explores, activate only as a sorcery. And there we have a skeleton pirate for a 2/2. He looks pretty cool. Copy card, skeleton pirate, copy card, skeleton pirate, the monarch. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to you, its controller becomes the monarch.
And I think the monarch is an attack me card because everybody wants the monarch.
Well, then you can have it. Menace. City's blessing. For my people, every step toward the core is a step toward our past and our future. Once blessed with such a connection, you are bound to your destiny forever. Pirate. 2/2 pirate token creature here with Menace. And then just your... And there we have it. We have gone through the Ahoy Mateys deck here. And hopefully here soon we'll get the other two to go through their decks, and then we can showcase us playing a game. So yeah, if you want to like and subscribe so that you don't forget to, so you don't miss it, we look forward to you on the Arr.